Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, let me get my camera on. Okay. There. All right. Is my sound okay? Because I'm in this very open room.
No, you're sounding just fine. Sounding just fine.
All right. Great. 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 Okay. You're going to love this session because it's all about Alaska.
Oh, I was going to say, because it's all about me. Don't do that. No. Alaska. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. There was someone who actually has a place up in Alaska, and they actually said, let us know when you're in the area. You got
Yeah.
a place to stay. I'm going, okay. Oh,
That's me.
that's you.
Me.
Oh, Sue.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you
Okay.
were being funny about that.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm working on that. I'm working on getting up there. We have another guest coming in. You're welcome to Arts and Antiques. You're on the phone there. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Hi there.
Hello there. And then we have Andrew, and we have John, and we have Sue, and I see Billy, and I see Judy, and I see you remember that from Romper Room, don't you?
Yep, absolutely. You're dating us.
I know, but there's no shame in that.
Where's Elizabeth? Yeah, you're right.
She's there. She's there. She's under John Flanders.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Oh, hi, Elizabeth.
Who's related to Ned Flanders, who lives next door to Homer Simpson.
Okay, Andrew, forgive me. I was expecting Jack, I thought, but you're with which film? No sound.
If that's directed me, my name is Russell. I'm calling in for my film display.
Oh, Russell, you are there. Yeah, and I wasn't Jack. It was Russell. Yes, I loved your film. Loved it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I spend a lot of time in Alaska and I've seen a lot of grizzly bears. So,
Russell, I haven't seen your film, but it was fantastic.
I can assure you it is. Thank you.
It is.
I have to say that I am taken to Alaska every time I hear there are at least 2, maybe 3 songs by John Denver singing about Alaska.
Oh,
and
take you right there.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I mean, and I've seen lots of pictures, and I know it's big country. Actually, there's a small town just south of, I believe it's Skagway on the channel there. It's not Nome. Haines. Thank you, Sue. Haines, Alaska. I have walked those streets many times via Google Earth down at ground level. I have to tell you that I would love to move there for 2 reasons. One, you are away from it all, but you're not so far away from other human beings. And so you're still connected to the universe. You're still connected to humanity, but at the same time, you're also disconnected as much as you want to be, because I mean, literally it is up there in the wilderness, and it's right there on the channel. You can go fishing. And I mean, I would love that. And to be able to continue to do the work that I do, like I do here in Santa Barbara with broadcasting and my podcasts and producing these shows for Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey, darling.
What's that?
How you doing?
I'm good.
So, Elizabeth, we're all set to go here.
Okay.
So just let me know when you are ready. We have, what is this here? Currently on something. I saw a chat there.
Richard, there may or may not be, there's a couple filmmakers they may be calling us on your landline because they're having computer trouble, et cetera, et cetera. I was just getting some messages here.
Well, Russell is on the line. He's on the phone here. He was the one who was mentioning that he was having.
Okay, so Russell is already on the line. Okay.
Trial.
Okay.
On trail.
And this is Andrew.
Excellent.
This is Andrew Nadkarni. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm on the trail in Grand Teton. Is my voice coming through clearly, or is it breaking up?
You're sounding good. So
okay, then I'll
don't
stay
move
here.
I don't care if a grizzly bear is behind you right now. Don't move.
Probably.
Even if there was a grizzly bear behind you, you don't want to move either.
I think you want to yell loud, but I had to come up here because there was a moose in my trail and I too close to the trail, so I had
Oh my
to
goodness.
turn the other way.
I guess so. All right. So Elizabeth, let's see. I got the videos already rolling. I'm ready to roll audio and get this show onto the road here. If you
Okay, that sounds good.
all right, here we go. I'll count you down in 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Hello, 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 Santa Barbara. It's your chantress of everything valuable and beautiful, Elizabeth Stewart, and I'm celebrating today NatureTrack and NatureTrack Film Festival. And we have so many good things to talk about today. I have joining with me the founder of NatureTrack and the Film Festival, Sue Isager. And Sue's going to talk to us a little bit about the season this coming up real shortly here and about a really special raffle. Richard, you were talking before the break, and I wanted to interrupt you and say, if you want, join this raffle because it's a special Alaska journey. So it's this raffle, the film festival, you will have a chance to visit one of your favorite states, if you win.
Right.
So maybe let's introduce first of all who we've got here. We've got Sue, founder of NatureTrack Film Festival. I'm joined by Andrew Nadkari, who is calling us on the trail in Jackson, Wyoming. His film is a short, it's called Between Earth and Sky. And this airs Sunday at 11:35 in the shorts presentation. I also have with us Russell Chadwick, all lowercase, Good Boy is the name of his film. And Russell is going to tell us a little bit about his film. And then at the half hour, I have someone else special joining us. The film is called The Oyster Farmer. So all these are just a little few selections of what you can treat yourself to for very reasonable at NatureTrack Film Festival. And let me turn it over to Sue, who can tell us a little bit more about the season, Sue.
Oh, yes. Thank you. First of all, thanks again for having us. The festival kicks off October 6th at the Bacara Hotel with the opening night film and party. And then again, Saturday and Sunday, all day films. We have panel discussions Saturday and Sunday morning. Special Sunday morning is a bird walk at Lake Los Caneros from 8 to 9, led by our NatureTrack docents. So of course, that's open to everyone. And and then the following weekend, so if you can't make all the films the 6th through the 8th, the Best of the Fest will play in Los Olivos from 3 to 9. We will be celebrating with a wrap-up party afterwards, and tickets and pass holders, that's all included for them. So they'll come and celebrate with us. But overall, NatureTrack Film Festival supports NatureTrack, and that's the main goal is to connect people to the natural world. And so now we're not only doing it by taking students and wheelchair users out in the natural world, but through film. And so there are some unbelievable films this year. I think people will leave the theater just in awe of what they just watched. And honestly, that's what I've always wanted with the film festivals is when somebody leaves the theater, it's one of those feelings of, I can't believe what I just saw. And then at a festival, you turn and you talk to people you were just met and you're talking about the films. It's just that whole vibe of a film festival just makes everything much more exciting.
And is it the 5th year or 6th year, Sue?
Well, this is our 5th year, even though we started in 2018. We took a break last year just to regroup. We got hit pretty hard by having to cancel in 2020. Then I tried to bring it back strong in 2021, but it was still that whole COVID thing. And so we took last year, regrouped, and that we moved it to Goleta for a part of it and still keeping part of it in Los Olivos where we started it.
So I would like to speak with Andrew Nadkarmi because, this is radio, dear listener, and you can't see very handsome young man, and he's sitting cross-legged in a big meadow. Look at that scenery. Is that you're at Jackson Hole, but what's that behind you? What lake, Andrew?
So talk about NatureTrack Film Festival. I'm happen to be on a NatureTrack right now, which is in the Grand Teton National Park, and I'm overlooking Jenny Lake, which is a pretty famous lake here. I'm in town attending the Jackson Wild Media Awards tonight because our film Between Earth and Sky is nominated for Breakthrough Film. So I'm really excited to be here and wanted to, as Sue mentioned, get outside and take in nature and all that brings for well-being and peace of mind.
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about Between Earth and Sky. I mean, I did a little quick research, and it's regarding a very educated female who is involved in a near fatal fall. And she has a near-death kind of thing happening, and that's why the title is Between Earth and Skies, because she's falling, I think, from a tree or some higher place. And the film is about how her life has changed. And can you tell me more, Andrew?
Yeah, so it's a film about my aunt, actually, Nalini Nadkarni. So she's a pretty renowned forest ecologist who kind of pioneered these techniques to climb up into the rainforest canopy, hundreds of feet above the forest floor. She invented these techniques, and she's been climbing for decades now. And she studies what grows back after a disturbance in the rainforest canopy. And so in 2015, as you mentioned, she was climbing and freak accident, her rope snapped, which this never happens. She fell 50 feet. She almost died. But then over the next couple of years, she made this miraculous physical recovery. So I set out to make a film about what grows back, the resilience of getting back to where you were before the fall. But through the process of making the film with a family member, with my aunt, we really dug into the family roots and kind of got closer to understanding sort of what gets passed down across generations and what grows back after a disturbance in a more emotional and psychological sense, as well as ecological in the environment in terms of climate change. So it kind of brings all that together, and through the film, Nalini ends up revisiting the tree that she fell out of. And that is a place where kind of her past, present, and future connection to trees all kind of conjoins into one. So that's what the film is about.
Let me just clarify, because your sound is okay, but it's a little wavery. So let me just clarify, Andrew. You, first of all, this is a film that connected a lot of I guess the collective, the family's collective unconscious somehow, and that you found the tree she fell out of and revisited the tree, and you used it like sort of like, I almost want to say, Norse mythology that connects the whole of the axis mundi, the central axis of the world. So am I getting it right?
Yeah, that's a really well put way of saying it. Yes, so we sort of dive back into her childhood, which is where she climbed trees and found this curiosity, but also used trees as an escape from difficulties inside the house. And then as an adult, she climbed trees, and then she fell out of the tree. And so the tree is the central metaphor for her life. And that's why we call it Between Earth and Sky as well, because of the trees connecting the roots to the sky, and the fact that you need to sometimes dig into the roots of something in order for the crown of the tree to be healthy and to prosper. So that's kind of you really nailed some of those themes that we try to get at with the film.
I can't let this moment pass without asking, what are the central family values that you have in common?
Yeah, so some of the values were, what I think of as these model minority myths of needing to achieve and be perfect and be better than to be valuable. So we come from an Indian and Jewish heritage. Nalini's father was a Hindu Indian immigrant, and her mother was a Jewish immigrant. And together they formed this sort of Hindu union, is what we call it, Hindu. And they passed down a lot of these pressures that you need to perform, you need to be perfect, you need to be the superhero in order to be valuable. And we wanted to buck against that. Even though Nalini is highly acclaimed, I wanted to make a film where she's highly human and vulnerable so that we can feel for her and with her. So that was the idea of kind of incorporating that emotional element, which I think is something new for her, even though she's been a part of lots of media before.
So I can hear in your voice that basically the high intelligence level that we got going here also as a family value. I would estimate. And you know, it's a film about an overachiever, done by an overachiever, about an overachievement, a great overachievement, which is beating death. It sounds to me like. So,
I've never heard it phrased that way. I'll take it.
and Sue, you're nodding and you're smiling, and you've obviously seen the film. Obviously, what's
It's
your
just
impression?
the connection, I mean, it's, yeah, phenomenal. And you're being honored now with today. So yeah, it's definitely one to see.
And Andrew, Sue was mentioning you're being honored. What are you winning in Jackson Hole there?
We're a nominee for breakthrough film at the Jackson Wild Media Awards. So that's a great honor alongside some beautiful independent films, which I love the idea of independent nature films, as well as, you know, ones that have more resources. And also we're being honored by NatureTrack in a way because we're one of the films, the Best of the Fest films playing in Los Olivos. So really proud and happy with that development.
Fantastic. Richard, I thought maybe we go to quick break, and when we get back, I want to speak with Russell Chadwick, who's on your phone line, and talk about his film, Good Boy, when we get back. Shall we do that?
I think that's a good idea. Yes.
Okay. And, you know, let's tease Richard a little bit, Sue, by just telling Richard about the Alaska raffle very quickly.
Oh, yes. So attend the film, My Alaskan Journey, fill out the card, and at the film, actually, we will draw the name, and the person will win a week-long trip in Alaska, 3 nights, 3 days, all meals at the Orca Lodge, Adventure Lodge, including a kayak adventure at Sheridan Glacier. And then you'll spend 4 days at the Cordova Yellow House, which includes then a scenic flight of Prince William Sound. Airfare is not included, so you'll have to get yourself there, but just about everything else is. So
Fantastic, Richard. Sounds like a treat, doesn't it?
It does indeed. I already have reservations with DB Cooper, so I'll be able to make it up there without a problem. We won't be landing, but I'll make it up there.
Excellent. All right, let's go to quick break, and then when we get back to the break, Russell Chadwick is here to tell us about his film, Good Boy. Can't wait. Don't turn that down. Back in a minute.
All right, very good. I'll line things up. Elizabeth, you go ahead and get your tea or coffee, whatever it is that you are headed towards there. Yeah, I got to tell you, this, you know, we're talking more and more these days on all of these programs about nature and taking care of what we've got and all of these different things. And I just hit here, and what's really funny is and I'm a big fan, obviously, of John Denver. There's a line in one of his songs that if he never saw Needless Land, something like that. How does it? I'm trying to remember the line. Anyway, the line I would that I kept screwing up at the end of the verse was, if he never saw Needless Land, having to reference seeing nature and so forth. The actual line is, if he never saw an eagle fly. To me, it meant the same thing, but I'm just enamored by all of this. You know, I would hate for us to lose more and more. And I'm really glad there are certain people in positions of power who are going crazy, preserving left and right. And
Richard, I just lost 20 grand yesterday. I had solar panels installed on the top of my house. So, so I'm 20 grand poorer. I thought, you know, this is my little part.
yeah, well, you know, you do what you can. And unfortunately, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
You know, I just, you know, I think about the people before we had the modern industrial, before the revolution, the industrial revolution, before we had electricity. You know, they seem to do pretty well. I mean, maybe not by our standards today, but by theirs. Hey, you know, if you had a fireplace and you had a cord of wood, you were doing pretty good. All right, let's continue on here in 3.
Oh, Sorry,
ahead.
just before we get going, do you need me to stay on, or is it okay if I pop off? Is there a more section that I should be a part of?
Well, I was going to ask you if you would just ask Russell a few questions, filmmaker to filmmaker.
Sure. I have not seen Good Boy, but I can ask after I hear about it. That would be totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Okay, Richard, go ahead.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart. October 6th begins NatureTrack Film Festival. And this is a little unique this year because it's a bang out opening party at the Bacara, which we've been talking about for a while. And it's going to be a fantastic time. And then, of course, Sue Isiger, who's with us, the founder, is kind of doing a dual location. So it's going to be Goleta as well as Los Olivos. And of course, if you want, you can join at the end of the festival for the best of the best films. And we have one of the filmmakers here who will be in that section, which is Andrew Nadkarni, who we were talking to regarding his film Between Earth and Sky. And it involves a family member who took a huge, almost near fatal fall, and her recovery and her connection with her family and nature, and how this all fits together for Andrew as an observer of his wonderfully talented aunt. And I would like to speak with Russell. Richard, do you have Russell on your line?
Russell is with us. Russell?
Hi, I'm right here.
Hi, Russell. Okay, so I'm here with Sue and Andrew Nadkarni. Richard Dugan is our producer. I wonder if you would tell us a little bit about Good Boy and why the whole title is lowercase.
Because everything else about the film is a little bit larger than life. I think we didn't know that we needed to go all big letters for the title. It's just sort of a portrait of a man named Doug Seuss, who for years worked as an animal trainer and then got very famous for his 1,500-pound Kodiak bear named Bart, who was in movies like Legends of the Fall, The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, The Bear, lots of different movies. He had a bear recently in an episode of Game of Thrones. I guess not that recently, but it's just sort of a look at who would decide to get in with a 1,500-pound Kodiak bear and maybe some of the reasons why. But yeah.
Okay, so let me get this straight. This is a good boy is what we say to an animal when they perform correctly. And so this is about a famous animal trainer who's notorious for a 1,500-pound Kodiak bear named Bart, who was in many, many Hollywood great films. And how, okay, so I'm thinking of Brad Pitt and Bart in Legends of the Fall. I mean, what kind of reaction does a celebrity have to a 1,500-pound trained bear?
Well, and Bart, or I'm sorry, Bart. Brad liked being around Bart and Doug so much. He came out and did. It was a series for Animal Planet called "Growing Up Grizzly," where he got right in, and we have some clips of it in the movie of him getting nose to nose with the bear. Doug's in with him, but he's still right up there. And he just got caught up in Doug's cause too, which is he preserves a lot of wild grizzly bear habitat. But a lot of people, we got some pretty great interviews for the film. We got Sean Penn and Robert Duvall. And, anybody that you reach out to about Doug doesn't say, I don't remember who that is. They all instantly go, oh, the bear guy. And most of them do an impression of him. And it's hard kind of not to get caught up in Doug's energy and orbit. And lots of folks do. So.
And may I ask, who's the name of the trainer, and when you found that actors did impressions of him, what were the impressions like?
It's mostly riffs on how Doug says "good boy," which was the other reason we named the film. That says that hundreds of times a day. I mean, he's all praise based. And there's even, I don't know if you remember the clip in the film where, I think it's from one of the Dr. Dolittle films. He's got a crew of maybe 75 people, and they're all clapping and saying "good boy," which is something that Doug encourages. And you actually see the bear kind of start to get a little happy and react to it. And it's I don't know why they do that, but it's something that gets said a lot if you're around Doug, and you hear a lot if you're around Doug.
Okay, so now you see the bear getting a little happy. How does a bear get a little happy?
Good question. There's lots of ways they express it, but in the clip we have in the film, you can kind of just I don't
Did
want
we lose Russell?
people's pets, but it's
Okay.
sort of
So I
wiggles,
would while we get Russell back, I'm very.
Oh no, did I lose you?
Go ahead, Russell. Russell's talking. No, we haven't lost Russell. He's with us.
Is winning a prize at the Jackson, Wyoming Festival. And I would love to hear Andrew's take on Russell's film, or just his description, put it that way. Andrew, can you give us some opinions, some feedback?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have not yet seen the film because I'm looking forward to seeing it at the festival. But sounds so fascinating to think about the way that people and humans interact, and also the way that intersects with media and film and the world of Hollywood. And, I think there are probably some interesting questions to be asked about sort of the ethics of training animals in media to be in movies, and the safety concerns of what that looks like. So at some point when I can speak to Russell, whether he's back on the phone or elsewhere, I want to ask him how much of the film was shot present day versus how much was archival pre-existing footage, and what safety precautions do you have to take when you're filming with a bear? Because I've never even come close to. Luckily haven't seen any bears in Wyoming. I saw a moose, but I haven't seen any bears. But Sue, I wonder.
Where did you see him? Yeah, where did you see your moose?
Well, I'm lucky to have service right now because I was on a trail without service, and a moose was grazing and just sat down in my trail for their day nap with just the antler picking up. So I had to turn around and take a nap, and that's why I ended up on top of this hill. So happy circumstance, but also I didn't want to get too close to that moose, just like I wouldn't want to get too close to a bear. I don't know if Sue has any insight. Sue, have you seen the film in full?
Yes, I saw the film in full. You can definitely see Bart happy, and it's almost like Bart and Doug are. It's like having a pet dog. I mean, it's unbelievable how he can hug that bear, how the bear responds to his commands, if you will, how he's trained him, and then the interviews with the actors, and you see how they're just like in awe of what this man has done with this massive animal. So it's just, yes, see, he hugged Bart that way, like holding his dog.
So this is Richard. You met Bear, but this is my bear. This is my Dasha named Bear, and we're speaking about a bear named Bart. This is Bear. Yeah, we animals are the important part. I love that Andrew's bringing up the idea of proper treatment of animals on set.
When people see the film, you'll know that the bears were probably treated better than some of the actors, or supporting actors, I should say, or extras. But yeah, it's
I can speak
special.
to that a bit. I don't know if you have me. I think you lost me.
We
earlier,
have
but-
Oh, you bet. Okay, yeah, Russell, go ahead. We were talking about you. Were bragging about you.
Just with safety and things like that, obviously it's first and foremost concern. But it's also, there's a clip where Sean Penn talks about for his film that he directed, Into the Wild, he wanted to make sure that he got an actor as close as humanly possible to a bear. And he said, there's only one person in the whole world I'd think of, and that's Doug Seuss. And we show what can happen with animal training. You watch Doug go to the hospital and what prompts him to go to the hospital, and see the whole thing. And as far as, we got very lucky and had everything from 8mm archival stuff, home videos. And I was adamant about no narration, just trying to present a relationship in footage and in the words of people that have seen that relationship, and not put a judgment on it. It's just, if I think you can see an enormous amount in, the trust that it takes to put your head in the mouth of a 1,500-pound grizzly bear. And it's there with those two. And there's, I think, something genuinely special about the relationship. And so it was just to show that as raw as possible, no narration, no voiceover, just here it is, see what you think.
So I just wanted to, this reflection on no narration. So Andrew, react to that, no narration.
Yes, I think that's really a cool move, because it allows the voices of the people who knew him and the footage to speak for itself. I think that's a really neat way of letting the story be told without necessarily like overbearingly holding the audience's hand to say this happened and then this happened and then that happened. So I think that makes total sense to me. But different filmmakers could make different choices on that. But I'm all for no narration unless there's a specific need for it. And it sounds like there was an abundance of riches of interviews and actors and footage to really tell the story on its own.
So Richard's giving us a sign we got to go to quick break. And Richard, do you by any chance have a phone call in from a Jason Wise filmmaker?
Not as of yet, but I will certainly come straight through when I see the line ring.
Sue, go ahead.
I just want to add that Good Boy is also playing at the Best of the Fest in Los Olivos.
Okay, so hold the line, Russell. I want to talk a little bit more about your film when we get back from the break. And Andrew, I will let you go if you'd like, and continue your beautiful hike in Jackson Hole there. And congratulations on your Breaking Out Award. That's fantastic. And we look forward to seeing you. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you here in our neck of the woods soon.
And there's a bear right behind you, Andrew.
Oh no. You got me.
Okay, Richard, let's go to quick break. We get back from the break, a little more from Russell Chadwick, his film about a famous animal trainer who has made a life's work of training a 1,500-pound Kodiak bear named Bart. And we also, I see Jason Wise has jumped on too. Okay, we've got Jason with us too. There he is. Okay, we'll go to quick break. When we get back, Sue maybe can reintroduce Russell's film because Sue has seen it. And then I'd love to have a few, maybe 5 or 10 more minutes with Russell about Good Boy. And then Jason Wise is with us. His film is The Oyster Farmer. And it's a fantastic idea. And we'll talk a little bit about Jason. Andrew, thank you. And good luck on the hike. And lovely to speak with you. Regards to your aunt from us.
Thanks so much. I'll send all of your best. Great to speak with you all. Thanks.
Richard, let's go to quick break. And then we get back from the break with Russell Chadwick and Jason Wise, filmmakers for NatureTrack Film Festival. Don't turn that down.
We're clear. All right. Very good. Very good. Stand by. I'll get things set here and we will continue on. We will march forward. And I love the story about the bear and all. That's wonderful. But I think I'd rather swim with the dolphins. Take my chances with the sharks.
Just wanted to thank you all. It's been such a pleasure. Glad to be able to do this. And I can't wait, Jason and Russell, to see your films.
And we'll see you next weekend.
Definitely.
All right.
See you. Take care now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye, Andrew.
All right. So there we go. And there was something. I'll clean that up later. Okay. So whenever you're ready, Elizabeth, you can get your coffee there. And
I didn't realize that we were on air when I described the raffle. So Richard, I thought I was just telling it to you.
No, and if it's all right, we'll leave it in. Otherwise, I can take it out.
Yeah, no. I definitely want it in. I might have said it a little differently, but yeah, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Unless you
So,
want
of
me
course,
to.
the fascinating thing about your whole description and directing it towards me is that I am ineligible
Oh, why?
because I work for the radio station. That wouldn't
Oh,
look too good if I won.
oh, I didn't think about
Much as
that.
I would love
But
to won.
it's not related. It's you just come to the film.
I
Huh.
will. I will come to the festival. I would love.
Okay.
I think
Well,
it's very cool.
You've already
Very cool.
you've already got the house to use, so you're covered there.
Okay. I don't know who that is, and I don't think I want to know who that is. There we go. Okay.
So when we get back, would you just do the dates, the times, the logistics, the costs, etc., and where folks can find out more? And I would like to do that right when we come back, and then at the end as well.
There you go.
Okay.
Get a bunch of plugs in.
All right. All right. Let her get together there. Then we'll start.
Okay.
Elizabeth, in 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart. I'm speaking with Sue Isagier, founder of NatureTrack, one of our most wonderful not-for-profits, and the supporting fundraiser that has taken off and grown legs called NatureTrack Film Festival, now in its 5th year. I remember I covered the first year with great excitement. And we have with us Russell Chadwick, his film Good Boy. We were discussing this, and Jason Wise is with us, his film The Oyster Farmer. Very interesting because Russell's film is about a famous animal trainer who brings his bear, Bart, who's 1,500 pounds, to famous films like Into the Wild and Legends of the Fall. We've all seen Bart act, actually. And so has Robert Duvall, Sean Penn,
Anthony Hopkins.
Brad Pitt,
The Edge is
etc.
a great movie. It's a
Yep.
good one.
Oh, The Edge. Okay,
Oh,
The
yeah.
Edge. Jason, yep. Okay, so Jason's seen Bart act as well.
Oh, yes. Many films.
All right. So Russell's with us still and talking a little bit about when we went to the break about the security aspect, and he mentioned kind of a teaser here. Maybe it's a spoiler, but the trainer goes to the hospital, Russell, right?
Yes, and Doug goes to the hospital many times. There's even a clip in the film where everybody sort of recognizes him at the hospital, just because that's a line of work that's conducive to that. But it's also a bit and a bit like the last filmmaker's film too, about how, okay, the bear tore your leg open. Now what? You still have to have a relationship with the bear. You have to be friends again. And what's that process like? How does that work? And again, what sort of person gets their leg ripped open by a bear and then wants to still be friends with it?
Yep, I had a cat like that once, and the cat was gone. That was over. I get it. Russell, what do you think? Did you form a relationship with the bear yourself, or did you meet Bart?
I did meet Bart. I've known Doug for a very, very long time. That Growing Up Grizzly program that Animal Planet did with Brad Pitt, I mentioned earlier, was actually about quite a while back. Some hunters in Alaska shot a mother bear in a den and left 2 orphan cubs. And the Alaskan Fish and Game didn't know what to do with them. Doug and Lynn actually said that they would take them. And so they needed a lot of extra hands just to sort of be chew toys and clean up after baby bears. And that's when I went down and worked, it's being a chew toy for about 3 or 4 months, just to kind of try to get them, used to people. And it's a pretty big adjustment going from Alaska to show business, but it was a good way to make sure that those bears weren't put down, and that they've been.
What did you call what you did, Russell? What did you call what you did for 3 or 4 months? You were a chew toy?
a chew toy, and I cleaned cages, and it was not difficult or skilled labor. So
Okay, I literally heard right. You were a chew toy.
yes, you just sort of it's bears aren't. It's hard to just be in with a bear and have them cuddle with you or things like that. Often they just sort of want to chew on you, which is, that's what bears do.
Okay, so this is, did that hurt? I mean, a bear is chewing on you. I just, outside of the fact that you're a brilliant filmmaker, you're letting the bear chew you. Why?
Just because they're going to have a lifetime where eventually they are next to people like Brad Pitt, and it's better for them to chew on you and get used to people. It's sort of like a teething puppy almost in a way. They were very young when they came from Alaska, and so it's just sort of the more people that they're around, the more people that they're used to. It helps a wild bear feel more comfortable with with people.
So Jason Wise,
they're never quite pets. It's the Bart was one of those things where the rule was that's Doug and Bart have that relationship where they can wrestle with each other, but if anybody else had tried that, it would have gone very badly. And that's sort of what the film gets into, is that this was very much this bear and this guy. It's not about bear training really in general. It's not, doesn't cover all the other. It's just sort of showing what this really special relationship was like between a pretty wild guy and his 1,500-pound bear.
So in other words, don't try this at home, as we've learned from, what was that famous filmmaker, the German filmmaker's film about the guy who eventually gets killed by the bears.
Grizzly Man, exactly. Yes, because that's usually the case of how, and again, it's making sure that everybody understands that it's not, Doug couldn't just go do this with any animal, and he has different relationships with different, the two cubs that he took in, he has different relationships with them than he does with Bart, because it's, animals in general, they have different personalities. I think anyone who's ever had dogs knows that there's quirks and personality things to every animal. And this just something really clicked about Doug and Bart.
Okay, so Richard's giving us a sign. We have 2 minutes before we go to quick break. And Jason, I wonder, as filmmaker to filmmaker, do you have any reflections or questions for Russell Chadwick about Good Boy? You've seen Bart act.
I've definitely seen probably all of the movies Bart has been in. But yeah, no, I really look forward to watching this film. It sounds incredibly fascinating. I can't wait.
Excellent. Okay, and Sue, you've obviously seen Good Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and it's a heartwarming story, really. And the bears are obviously well taken care of. I mean, there's no concern about any problems with the bears and being in captivity and how they're cared for. I mean, it's just I was thrilled to learn the story too, because I too had seen a lot of those other movies that Bart was in, and I didn't know Bart's story. But the movie The Bear, I still love the scene where the bear is standing there. The little cub is meeting the mountain lion, and he thinks he's scaring him away. And then they pan back, and there's Bart. And of course, Bart's really scaring them away, but the little bear is like pretty proud of himself that the cat ran away until you see the full scene, which was one of my favorite scenes.
Fantastic. Okay, Richard, let's go to quick break, and then I want to speak. And Russell, thank you so much. I'll let you get on with your day, and congratulations on a wonderful film, Good Boy. And Sue, yes, go ahead.
Russell's coming next weekend too. He'll be at the festival.
Okay, and then Sue, would you give us some logistics on where people can buy tickets, etc.?
Yes, they're on sale now at NatureTrackFilmFestival.org. And there are passes available that will give you access to every film, to all the parties, to the opening night, to the best of the fest, and also individual tickets for each of the film blocks. And you can also buy 6-packs or 12-packs of films. We'll have panel discussions Saturday and Sunday morning. We have the bird walk led by NatureTrack docents from 8 to 9 at Lake Los Carneros. So we'll have binoculars available for people. And the closing party will be Sunday evening awards, Sunday the 8th. But then on the 14th, we'll have the Best of the Fest in Los Olivos, and we will have a wrap party after that that is included in your ticket.
And you give us a shout out about what this costs.
The individual tickets are $12 per block. There's a discount for the 6-pack and 12-pack, and I'm not recalling it right now, but the passes are just $200. Opening night, if you just want to come to the opening night reception, film, and party, that is $75, and that's at the Bacara.
Such a deal. Okay, so when we get back, I want to talk with Jason and Russell. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm talk with Jason Wise about the oyster farmer. And just to tease you a little bit, dear listener, first I'm looking at Jason, who's very suave, and he's obviously got some connection with good wines because he's got wine posters, and then right next to him on his left side is a cabinet filled with beautiful bottles of wine. So I want to know a little bit of backstory because we're talking about oysters in this film with Jason, but it's kind of an interesting segue. All right, don't turn that down. Back in a minute. We're talking with filmmaker Jason Wise.
Okay, you're clear. Stand by. So let's see here. There's that right there. It's a nice thing about my job. I never have to deal. The only wild animals I ever have to deal with are advertisers and programmers.
Those are the worst kind.
Oh, yeah.
They can get mean and nasty sometimes.
This would be much better.
But that excludes Elizabeth. She is nothing like that. She is just the sweetest, kindest woman.
What now? Okay, let's
I really appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm all ready.
Russell, thank you.
The next
Okay, we're ready.
Okay, and all right, you have, this is your last segment, and hang on one second. If Russell's hanging up there, and he is, I want to clear him out. Okay, he's cleared out. Okay, so this is your final segment, and you have about 9-10 minutes. Okay.
Good.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Welcome back. It's Elizabeth Stewart. I'm speaking with Sue Isaguirre, founder of NatureTrack, a very special organization that brings the wilderness to school children. And then the supporting organization that is a fundraiser for NatureTrack Film Festival, going strong and in its 5th year. We spoke with Russell Chadwick, his film Good Boy, about famous bear trainer, and Andrew Nadkarni about his very famous aunt who suffered a near-death experience between Earth and Sky. And we're talking with Jason Wise now, his film The Oyster Farmer. And tell me, Jason, why am I looking at sommelier poster and beautiful wine? And tell me why.
Well, I mean, I directed this film behind me. It's called Somm. It was a film about sommeliers. There's been 3 of them, and we have the 4th one called Cup of Salvation goes into theaters for its Academy run this October 6th. So that's why my hair's long. I don't cut my hair until we get the film in the theater. So yes, I directed this other film behind, but yes, wine is a big, for better or worse, part of my life. And most people sort of, I think, know me from that part of the world. Is wine.
Okay,
stuff.
so tell me again, the Academy, what now?
So I have a film going for its Academy Award qualification on October
Really?
6th in Los Angeles theaters, yeah, and then Chicago, and then New York, and all the rest of it. So
okay, so tell me just
that's a different film.
Yeah, okay, but still, tell me what is the film? Is it Sommelier?
No, it's called Cup of Salvation. So it's a movie that is about the origins of religion and wine, but it's a very dangerous film. We filmed all over the Middle East. We were caught in a war in Armenia, and since the New York Times articles come out, I'm allowed to say that we filmed in Iran. It's the first American film since 1978, and we did some very dangerous things, and I've been in trouble for it since. And so finally, this movie can come out. So it's a very dangerous movie, but it's called Cup of Salvation, and it comes out Comes out in the theaters.
I would,
8 days.
I would love to cover that another time because
Sure.
that is, I want to be in touch with you, Jason, about that because that is not only is it dangerous, it's a dangerous mythological and ritualistic topic as well. The relationship.
Boy, you wouldn't believe what happens in this film. We did something very wild. I will just say that. But there's a lot of, I will say, wine is probably the most intentionally misunderstood product that we put in our bodies. And honestly, I've endeavored for many years to tell a true story about what it really means to human history, and this is it. But it plays like a narrative. It is a geopolitical thriller. It is not a educational documentary, though you
And
probably will learn a lot.
Just to give you the level of the films and the filmmakers that come to NatureTrack Film Festival, we have totally this example of an Academy Award perspective film directed by
Whoa.
Jason Wine.
Not
And
nominated yet. It's
Well,
got a long road. It's
okay.
just to qualify.
Okay. Now, very quickly, just to say that the Great Reformation was caused by wine, for example, because it was the transubstantiation of the blood in the body, et cetera, and the two camps, the Protestant camp on one side, the cat. I mean, this is the whole story. I love this.
You're gonna
And
love a
let's-
film we have coming out in March. We filmed in the Vatican and in the Secret Archives, first time ever, and it's called Life of Wine. That comes out in March of next year. So, but
Well,
that
we
one we
have to
filmed
do a
all
show.
over Pompeii and all over Venice, Italy, and monasteries. You will not believe that film too. I don't think I've slept in about 4 years. Anyways, though,
Talk about the oyster farmer.
Sure. So over the last, say, 5 or 6 years, I've been all over the world. I think we filmed in 27, 28 countries for various projects, films, series. And along the way, I happen to be an obsessive person about oyster. I went to school for biology and keep a lot of fish tanks, but I also like to eat them. And so while we were in places, I would basically find the best oysters I could. And so over the course of many years, we'd film in Brittany, France. We'd film all over the United States, outside of Boston, places where the best Ireland, where the best oysters in the world come from. And oysters are one of these things that if you find them in an environment, the environment is incredibly enriched by their presence. They're filter feeders. If they can exist in a place, it A, means the water is good enough for a filter feeder, and B, that generally when you put oysters in a place, it changes the entire ecology of a place. There's a lot of estuaries that have been dredged and a lot of the ground has been taken out, and they put oyster farms in there, and then all of a sudden the life comes back. It takes about a year. It's an incredible thing. It's essentially a living reef is what they are. And whether you're farming them or they're naturally occurring, it's a real boon to the environment to have oysters. And it's one of the few foods we do. Most things you farm, there's an environmental impact. Most things that you hunt, there's, you have to manage. This is a very different situation where if you can farm oysters, outside of maybe some gasoline to power boats, it's a pretty clean thing to do. And so I deeply love oysters, and I also love them with wine. So
Oh, you love them with wine.
Oh, for sure. I could do an hour on wine and oysters. We don't want to do that right now, but
Okay. So I love oysters too. So what's the best wine to have with oysters? It'll be white, right?
yeah, this is a big, I host a podcast and we argue about this all the time, but I would say, Muscadet is a real famous white wine from the Loire Valley that a lot of people have with oysters, really crisp, really acidic. Champagne or anything with bubbles is really good. Honestly, beer is fantastic with oysters, and sake is tremendous too. So, if you're really going to get into it, just depends on the kind of oysters too. Some are more fatty, some are more salty, some are more, and oysters, they say the word terroir with wine. It's a real kind of pardon my language, but kind of a BS word. It's used for marketing a lot. Oysters have true terroir. If they are growing in a place, you literally taste the place. You don't pass go, you just taste it. If they're in a salty place, you taste the salt. If they have a certain kind of seaweed in the environment, you taste that seaweed. It is for real. And so that can impact what you drink with it.
So about the film, Jason, is there a specific farmer that you're covering, or is it in general tell me?
There's sort of a main character, a guy named Kieran Fennelly, who's in Westport, Massachusetts, but also we filmed in Morro Bay. Stephanie Mutz, who's a sea urchin diver, who was in a previous film I made about sea urchin divers, is in it as well. She's a biologist and a very smart woman, and she's from Santa Barbara. And so there are sort of 3 or 4 main characters and it jumps all over the place, but it's the idea of the oyster farmer and how oysters impact the environment, the history of them with humans, and all told as quickly and effectively as we could. We did not want this to be a big, long movie on purpose. We wanted it to be a bite-sized type of thing. So
Just one question before we have to go and say goodbye, but I want to know, when did we discover that we could eat oysters as a human
it
species?
goes back. I mean, midden piles go back to the Neolithic times. I mean, oysters, if you could just chisel them off a rock and eat them. So everything from Native Americans to Neolithic populations around anywhere around water, shellfish were probably the first thing people ate from the water, because you could either pick them up or whack them off a rock. So it goes back to really the first moment, we could
And
walk.
are they endangered at all? I mean, in the changes that we humans are wreaking on our planet, are oysters endangered at all?
Yeah, they can be. I mean, there's an Olympia oyster, which is about the size of a quarter. It happens to be one of the most delicious oysters in the world, but it almost went extinct. And if it wasn't for people eating it, it probably would have gone extinct. The problem with that is, like, the Kumamotos you all eat, those got into the water and sort of overtook their place. Pollution is an issue. It's mostly over harvesting, and oysters in their natural state take a long time to mature. You can accelerate that by farming, but it's more of just managing. Some have gone extinct. There are many that have, but they're a pretty sustainable animal for food, at least.
And Sue, just Richard's giving us a sign. We have just a minute left, but will you tell us how people can find out more about NatureTrack Film Festival?
Yeah, well,
Yes,
I mean,
so-
obviously. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. I was like, go to the festival.
Yeah, yes, no, you go to the website, which is naturetrackfilmfestival.org. It's naturetrackfilmfestival.org. This might be crazy, but people are welcome to call me at 805-886-2047. I'd be happy to answer any of their questions. And I hope that people just have the time to come out and see some of these films, because it'll make their weekend extra special. Absolutely.
And don't forget, dear listener, don't forget the Alaskan Journey, a film that we'll be screening, also has an attached raffle to it that you can win a fantastic number of days, all expenses paid except for your airfare, in an Alaskan journey. So that's a bonus as well to the film festival this year. And Jason, stay on the line just after we close. So I want to get your information so we can
Sure.
do this further interview. And Sue, thank you very, very much. And congratulations, opening night, October 6th. Be there at the Bacara for a magnificent party and screening as well. Thanks, Richard.
You're welcome. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're clear.
Okay, Jason, how do I find you?
My email is jason@sommtv.com. Sue, it's nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, same here. And I wonder, are you coming? Can you make it next weekend?
I am desperately trying.
Yeah,
I will
okay.
probably have to drive 100 miles an hour from the Q&A to the Q&A here for the late screening in Los Angeles at the theater. We're working through it. It's sort of like we were planning on this film premiering later in October, and the Academy changed their qualifications for when something had to run in the documentary category. It had to do with the strike and a number of other things, and it was not fun. And so,
Oh gosh. Well,
we recorded our score for this movie with the Budapest Symphony Orchestra 7 days ago, and we are mixing the score in right now. I will be delivering. We were going to show it on 35 millimeter, and now we have to show a DCP for the LA run, and it has been quite a little week here for me.
wow. Well, my gosh, thank you for taking the time to be on the radio.
Oh,
right
my
now.
pleasure. This is
Definitely.
all I want to do is talk about this stuff. I mean, it's
Let me say, we have, if we could help, because we've got a trade out with A&J Limo, if we can help with a limo for you back and forth.
to
just
LA.
Yeah. So please reach out to Garrett, or reach out to
Take
Mitch,
it, Jason.
Garrett,
Take it.
or myself, but we
Man,
will.
that is interesting.
Yeah.
might-
So that may.
Listen, that's fantastic. You can have your oysters and wine and be transported.
There you go, pal.
That's great. No excuse not to drink. That's great.
Right.
That's funny.
It's above Santa Barbara. They won't send a limo up there. It's too rocky.
That's right. That's right. I love the Bacara. We've done a lot of screenings there. They're I go back before they were bought by the current owners. So it's it's a great spot.
Yeah.
Really great.
So anyway, yeah, just let me know.
Okay, that's wonderful, Sue. Thank you so much.
Your phone number, Jason.
It's 714
Uh-huh.
469 1193.
1193.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. There's also a group I want to introduce you to that Richard's had on his program and my program.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the Mythological Roundtable, and
Mhm.
Oh, interesting.
it's a nationwide phenomena now, and that your film would be of terrific interest to ritual studies, comparative religion, mythologists, etc., Jungians,
Oh,
all
interesting.
of the
Yeah, no,
above. Yeah, all
I'm
of the above.
definitely in for that kind of thing for sure. That
Yeah,
is
so I'll connect you with those directors there, but we'll chat. And Sue, thank you very much
Yep.
for jumping in.
Thank you.
And Richard, God willing, this can air tomorrow.
It
And
is
that the
airing
station-
tomorrow. Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
So
excellent, excellent.
I made a mistake in saying 6-pack and 12-pack tickets. It's actually 4-pack and 6-pack tickets. We used to do 6 and 12, so I don't know if that can be edited out, or I mentioned I didn't give a price, so maybe it's not a big deal.
I would say let them
Let them go online. Yeah, let them go online
Okay.
and take a look.
And they'll
Yeah, I
see.
think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Okay,
it'll be
sorry
fine.
about that. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
you.
Jason, I'll
Thank
be
you
in
all.
touch.
Yep.
Okay,
And
sounds
let us
great.
know if we can help you
Okay.
get up here. All right.
Oh, thank you, Sue. All right, I'll
Uh-huh.
talk to you all later.
All right.
Bye.
Let me do